Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Another week in League of Inches, and it's the grand final edition we got there in the end. Which at the start of about March or so, I don't think many people thought this was going to happen. So it's good that we're finally here. And grand final week's always a good week. It's I always say I like it better than Christmas. So bring on the grand final. Obviously, the hats off. I just wanted to go for the standard. I think just the both teams that are in the grand final, so obviously Penrith and the Storm, massive years to obviously go through, especially the Storm being in the bubble, and then going away from their home. And I just think both clubs to be in this sort of climate and what's going on in the world, and to make the grand final in this year, it's a pretty big deal. So I'll bring in the boys on that note. So Dane, welcome back, brother, and looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a cracker. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really red hot game. So,
yeah. Well, welcome back to you as well, Sid. Looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I was looking at the stats today. Very, very similar right across the board. Points scored, points against completion rate. Tries. Line breaks. It was ridiculous. You couldn't put a piece of paper between these two teams.
Yeah, I was actually doing the same thing this half. I was looking at both teams, and I like to sort of compare each player to player and the matchups. And I tell you what, it's actually pretty unbelievable how close it's actually going to be. And I was looking at things like the bench and things like which we'll go into in the video. And but it's going to be a cracker of a grand final. But before we go into the game, I just wanted to sort of touch on a topic that's sort of floating around this week. And obviously Cameron Smith with is he retiring or is he not retiring? I know this one's going to be a bit of a good topic to talk about, because I think Dane is in love with the bloke, and I know that Sid and myself are probably a bit over the saga, let's call it. So basically all it is I just want to ask the question, really, is it arrogance, or does he deserve to sort of play it the way he is? Because in my eyes, I think it's gone on a bit too much now. He sort of tells media one thing one day and then carries on and gets chairlifted off the next. Dane, do you think it's arrogance, or do you think it's good that he can carry on this way?
Yeah, look, I'm a bit sort of mixed on it, because I wish he'd just come out and just say it, so that, everyone, league supporters, the club, they can all just sort of be at peace. But at the same time, I think he's trying not to make it all about him, but because it is Cam Smith, I think the media, whether he announced his retirement or hasn't, like he has now, I think the media are all over it, and they're still going to make it a big thing and make it all about Cam anyway. And I honestly think he's going to retire. But, I've heard reports there's no talks with any with the Melbourne Storm about, a contract extension or activating anything if there's something in there. I don't think it's arrogant. I think he wants what's best for Melbourne. He just wants to get on with the job. His head is to try and win this premiership and hopefully go out on a high.
Yeah, the only reason I say arrogance is because I watch the press conference after their games. I watch all of them basically in the finals and see how the coaches react and things like that. But he walked in with an ice block, basically just having a chill on it, doing his thing in the press conference, and sort of just played it off to be nothing, which I thought was a bit of a slap in the face, because you literally just got chairlifted off 10 minutes before that. You've waved to the fans doing a lap of honour during the game, basically. So you're basically showing a lot of signs there that it is your final game about to come up. And I thought it was at least respectful enough just to say, look, it's at least I'm leaning that way. I haven't decided 100%, but it's looking that way, or give something. Sid, what are your thoughts on it? Because there's rumours floating around everywhere. There's rumours that he's put his kids into a Gold Coast school and he's going to go run around for Gold Coast for 2 years. There's retiring. There's another year with the Storm. Where are you at with the whole saga?
Look, I think he wants to win the comp, then announce his retirement. Now, if he doesn't win it, it's an alternate reality, and I'm not sure what he's going to do with that result. Whether he'll want to go around again because he didn't win it, but the whole carrying him around from his team is one of two things: one, they know something, or two, they're dropping hints.
Kicking him out the door, you reckon?
Just or at least make a decision.
Yeah.
When we're making a swan song, they're certainly playing their hardest, which you always expect from Melbourne as long as you can remember. They play their hearts out, but they seem to be, really mixed. They're killing themselves and they're super aggro and they really want to win this thing, which is fine. But I just have the feeling they just want to win it, and then he can announce his retirement. Rip the Band-Aid off already. I mean, seriously, it's getting boring. But you know what? He loves every minute of it. I'm convinced. While he's one of the best players to ever play a game, I reckon he's smug, he's arrogant, and he's loving the attention.
Yeah, well, it was interesting that he got announced to be one of the refs on the weekend as well. So I thought that was a nice little play by him. So we'll see how he goes with that appointment. But look, we'll move on to the game now and have a chat a bit more about each team. And I just want to start off with the weaknesses first for each team. For mine, with the Storm first, I've written down 2 points. I've written the travel. I've written the fact that they've been away for so long. Will it get to the point where it's slowly eating at them? Is it gone for too long now? Is that possibly a weakness? And the other one I've got Brenko Lee at centre. So I think he's been shown up quite a bit, and I think they've protected him quite well. But I think he's a bit of a passenger in that side at centre, and I think that's an avenue that Penrith can really exploit in the game. Dane, do you see any weaknesses in the Storm lineup?
Yeah, look, there's not really any weaknesses that jump out for either teams for me, to be honest. It just depends on who turns up on the night. I think they're 2 solid teams, to be honest, and I can't really pinpoint any weaknesses at all. I think it's really going to be some solid attacking footy. I think there's going to be minimal mistakes, and it's going to be who capitalises best on the advantages that they create for each other. So there's nothing really that sort of stands out, or anyone that stands out for me that, they're a huge weakness, for each team.
Well, there is talk around the weather, so it might be a wet grand final. So that'll definitely play into the hands of keeping the ball and keeping possession. So, Sid, what are you seeing with the Storm? Is there any weaknesses there that you can see?
They're a well-oiled machine. They're churning. The only issues that I could see, or perhaps a possible chink in the armour, is a couple of their players are walking wounded. I saw it Patches, Cameron Munster, favouring the other leg, and he went through phases, and it doesn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if he's getting painkilling injections, because he has an injured knee. It's quite obvious. There were periods where he was curling up as he hit the line, and periods where he was springing off it with his usual stepping, Jack in the Box style stepping. That's probably the issue. I think that's a great point you make about Brenko Lee. His lateral movement's a little bit wanting for a centre. He's got the build of a back rower. He just happens to be a centre that's a little bit heavy. And the other thing I would say is that Melbourne have maybe played their best, played to their potential, whereas Penrith haven't really played to their. I think they can go to another level if they could put it together on the day. As Dane said, it's the team that turns up. I mean, every game starts at nil law. If they can put it together on the day, they'll be devastating. So, mate,
I love a good footy cliche, and we've just got a couple there for you guys. So tick them off if you're playing a bit of drinking bingo, and hopefully we've got you having a couple of shots soon. So, look, go to the positives now, and we'll go to where each team can. Go to the Penrith side now, and obviously, I've written down here. I've got the mix-up between Naden and Tyrone May, and who's playing that centre position. I feel like when you're in a streak that they are in now 17 in a row, and if you start tweaking with the side when there's no injuries, just for the sake of it, I feel like it can become a bit of a disruption. Look, people are out there saying Naden's not the best defender, but they've still managed to win 17 games in a row, so he can't be doing too bad. And it's more also just the way the whole side connects. I think that when he's on, he's one of those very passionate players, and he's always up and going. And I thought they were a little bit flat against South in some stages, where he'd normally create that little bit more of that up-tempo, let's go get him sort of mentality. And I don't know if May is that sort of player. I think May's a very solid player. I just don't know if he's that solid strike starting centre that Naden can offer. And the other thing for mine would just be obviously Coruscant's fitness. He obviously was a little bit injured last week and looking a bit broken, so to speak. Dan, I know you said there wasn't many weaknesses for either team, but is there anything there you can see in the Penrith side, or you're sticking solid with your no weaknesses?
Yeah, no, look, I'm going to sound boring, but yeah, I don't see any huge weaknesses. But when you just mentioned Coruscant there, I think sometimes he can play a little bit of footy in his own world, and he can come out with some dangerous plays where, you know, he might throw a hospital pass, or he'll go in for a solo, throw a dummy and dive in for a try, and he can cough the ball up. But I don't think he's been doing it that much this year, to be honest. They've been playing some pretty structured footy, give it to your halves, your playmakers. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to do anything silly. I think they're going to stick to a game plan, and they're going to go out there to execute it.
100%. And Sid, can you find anything there in the Penrith lineup?
Look, I want to delve into that subject you're talking about with the Naden and Tyrone May thing. So yeah, Tyrone May's a solid player. 100% agree. He's a good defender. He's more he doesn't shoot up. He's more passive, but he hangs on for dear life. Whereas Naden has more tendency to shoot up, which can leave space. But as you rightly say as well, Naden offers a better strike option. If there's a line break and he's supporting, he's got a long stride, he's quite quick, he can step off both feet. He'll inevitably go through and score. Whereas if Tyrone May's in the line break, he'll probably get run down. You know, it's a little bit slower.
Yeah.
They're very, very different players. I think Naden hasn't been the same since that racial abuse incident from the fans. If he can get anywhere near he's running about 70%, in my opinion. He was looking like a real good centre at one stage in the season for quite a few games. Hopefully he can have the right mindset and then and bring his best foot forward. And other than that, there won't be an issue or a weakness across the board. I echo what Dane said. They're a really, really well balanced team. They've got a healthy roster as well. Not much weakness other than stage fright is the only thing that might worry him. You know, the lack of big game experience. I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that was probably the one thing that I didn't write down, but I was going to. So, and just the other quick thing on the Naden thing would be that for all year, Penrith have been all about sort of attack, and they've been scoring points at will. That's been their mindset each week, is just to pump teams and get that roll. And if you start to switch your mentality to a defensive mindset to put May in the lineup, if you start thinking defensive, you can easily lose. So hopefully that's not the case, and we can see Naden on the big stage. And I think he'll have a big game if he ends up playing. So where each team can win it, I've wrote just a couple of big battles. I thought the spine battle for both teams is going to be huge. You've got a 1, 6, 7, and 9 for each team that is just on fire. Probably in their best, especially the Penrith side, they're probably in the best form of their careers. You've got Edwards, Cleary, Luai, and obviously Coruscant at hooker as well. And I think they're all in massive form. Storm, the interesting thing for me last week was that Smith didn't do too much, and Cameron Munster was walking around on one leg basically. So it was Pappenhausen and Jerome Hughes actually stood up and led that team around pretty well. And that's a danger sign for Penrith, I think. If you've got the Storm and playing with Pappenhausen, who's a freak, I think, and he's probably will probably be the quickest player out there on Sunday. Any bit of space, and we can see him linking up with Addo Carr. It's going to be a pretty deadly combination. But I also noticed when I was looking at the lineups earlier was that their benches are both packed. They've got massive benches, both teams. They've got some real strike coming off that bench. And I'd say they've probably got the two strongest benches of all 16 teams. And it's probably a big reason why they are where they are, because they don't lose momentum when they actually get past that 25-minute mark, or a lot of teams will. They just keep it going. So on the Storm side, I've got obviously the Smith factor is a big thing for their team to get them up to win it on Sunday. I think that's a huge reason why they will win it. And just the bubble in terms of they've been able to stick together and stay strong as a team. I think that's really underestimated by the public. If they're all in each other's pockets every day, they become basically brothers, and it can go a long way to winning football games, just having that strong, tight mateship. So, Dane, obviously you didn't want to be negative, but here's your chance to be positive about the Storm. And where do you see him winning?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a battle of the heart, and down. So Melbourne Storm have got really smart kickers in, Jerome Hughes, only Cameron Munster, and I think Cameron Smith's going to stand up a little bit. And I think he might look for some early kicks. I think they're going to mix it up. He'll be looking for some 40-20s from time to time, and if they're over on the edges, well then he'll try and kick it deep and get it right down the back of the field so that they can get some field position and keep the Panthers down on their own line. Geary, he's got a great kicking game, and Luai and whatnot. And then I think you just work it across the field and try and create those holes, draw the players in, and I think you score down the edges. That's sort of what I'm thinking that I'm going to see based on how they've been playing.
Yeah, 100%. Sid, where are you seeing the Storm winning this one if they are the ones that win it?
The scary thing about Storm in recent times, if you're able to throw the ball around and cause them to not have numbers in defence, they can't wrestle, and they struggled. So they struggled with an open end-to-end game, a speed game. But this year, just credit to Bellamy again. He's remoulded them, reinvented them. They are craving and relishing the open-ended game. So where they're going to win is where most teams have struggled with them and falling in the trap of trying to go end-to-end, trying to keep the ball in play, and the Storm loving that, because you just get more and more tired and there's more holes in the defence, and that's why you're seeing so many of those long-range tries of theirs. They throw it, they know where to throw it. They could almost, they know where each player's going to run, so they know where. So Munster knows where Pappenhausen is. Pappenhausen knows if he gets stuck, he's got what's his name, the Fox. He's got the Fox out of car following him around. Like the amount of times they've scored the same sort of try, it's ridiculous. It's no coincidence, And you got Jerome Hughes, who's always following, and just I see a similar pattern. That's always a sign, obviously, of a good side where you can see their clear game plan. So where they can win is that Penrith think they can run them around, which Penrith need to do to be threatening. They're going to have another thing coming. That's the scary part. It's a massive proposition.
Yeah, they're hitting their straps at the right time for mine, and it just seems like all their players are in form right now and where it matters. And for Penrith, I felt like just the momentum in general is a big reason behind why they're going to come out and win this if they are to. Obviously, 17 straight's no mean feat, and they've just got momentum. They've got the whole Penrith city and town behind them, and it's going to be a big crowd of basically 90% Penrith supporters, as all the borders are closed, and the stadium will be black. So, but for mine, if I'm to pick a player as well, I think Jerome Luai has been absolutely massive and very underrated this year in terms of the work that he's done. And I know Cleary's got all the raps for what they've been doing as a team, but when I sit back and watch their games, it's Luai that actually is the danger man, and he's always the one stepping and getting on the outside of his man to create the 3-on-2s and things like that. So Melbourne really need to watch him. I think he's the big danger man for him. Dane, if Penrith are to win this, Granny, who is it, or what is the reasons behind it?
Yeah, well, I think what Penrith do really, really well, and they've done better than any team in the NRL over the last probably 10 years is the quick play the ball. They've just got so much speed, getting the ball down the end of the field, getting to 5 and then putting a kick through or a grubber through and chasing those repeat sets or using speed to jump on a loose ball or go through holes. So I think speed is going to be one of the things that is going to help the Panthers. They're young, they're hungry, they're on a high. As Sid touched on before, I still think they've got another year, and I think they want to win it. This is the last part of the puzzle, and I reckon they want to complete it. So, that's the way that I sort of see the Panthers, and I honestly think
100%. And I think it's a good point you make with the dummy half. I think he's probably the quickest dummy half in the comp. So just in that 10, 15 metre radius of getting past that, the defenders, and Coruscant's an absolute beast when it comes to that. So if they can get some quick play the balls going, obviously against Storm Wrestle, go along the long way to winning this game. So Sid, where do you see the Panthers winning it if they are the ones holding the trophy up?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with what both of you guys have said. Coruscant up the middle. I'll add to his speed. He can break a tackle. For a little guy, he has this move where he ducks under and pops out the other end. And we've seen him do that a few times. And if he finds his feet, sometimes he falls over, which still results in a quick play the ball. But if he finds his feet, he's off. He'll take off. Yeah, so he can break a tackle. He's a little bit stronger than Cook. In that sense. And the other one is Luai. I'll point to one moment, and before I do, I will say this: that there was guys in their prime. I'm going to name was Andrew Johns, Jonathan Thurston, Benji Marshall, which I've compared Luai to him already in a previous episode. When they're in top form, they don't know what they're going to do, and you can't coach against somebody or prepare for a player for what he's going to do if he doesn't know what he's going to do. Now, the move I'll point to was, again, I thought, hang on, wow, that's Benji in his prime, was that delayed ball to Capewell, that short ball down the edge against Souths. Capewell went through, drew the fullback, gave it to Mansour. Then Mansour gave it back in that terrible forward pass, which should have been a try. But that delayed ball, I have to look again. I was like, well, what did he just do? It was just brilliant. It was a no look, but he didn't do it just to look flashy. He did it because it was effective, and it was just so subtle. The double pump. If you remember, we talked about dummies in the past. I don't like a dummy unless you can pull off a double pump. That's the double pump I'm talking about. Brilliant. And he's the other threat for Penrith that can do something.
100%. I think he needs, and you've mentioned some big names there but he'll need to get up to that sort of level for mine if they're to win this on the weekend. And obviously now just some predictions of the grand final day in the match, and we'll go to Dane first. I just want you to give us the winner, the margin, your Clive Churchill medal winner, and just the winner of the NRLW as well.
All right, I'm going to say the Panthers to win. Panthers to win by 8, and I reckon Tedesco will get the Clive Churchill.
Billy Slater.
Yeah, or Billy Slater. He's not on the field. No, I'm going to stick with Cleary. I think he's had a gun year. He might score a double. You heard it here first. Yeah, and the NRLW, I'm going to go with the Roosters. Being a Roosters supporter, I've got to support the girls. So,
well, there's no gas leak. She's out, but yeah, you took it to them on the weekend. It's unlucky with a few no tries and stuff. So, good luck to your Roosters. It's good to have a team on grand final day. So, a bit jealous of you there. Sid, what are your predictions?
I reckon Panthers 25-24. I reckon it'll be tries.
He's done a score.
Yeah, I've gone for a score. Why not? Doesn't matter. Whatever. Might as well put myself out there for ridicule. And I think Cleary will get it because if they win, He will be seen as, you know, the orchestrator, and he'll get the Clive Churchill winner. And as far as the women, I can't see anyone coming near the Broncos girls. They're a cut above, and they'll do what the Danes boys couldn't, and they'll do a three-peat.
Oh, there's a little stab there. He's wearing. Have a go, dog, he says. Look, I've gone. Unfortunately, being a Para fan, this kills me to say, but I've gone the Storm. Mainly just the Smith factor. I think they're going to win it for him, and the referees will basically suck up his ass and Melbourne all game, which happened on the weekend, but we won't talk about that. Margin, I've got them winning by 10. I think they'll just be a little bit classy in a couple of breakaway tries near the end with the Fox and similar to that. Clive Churchill, I've actually gone Pappenhausen. I think he's been playing really, really well. And just on the weekend, how I went to the game and watched him, and just this work he does on and off the ball. And he's sort of stepped up a lot this year with his ball playing. And he's the complete fullback now. And you can tell he's been working with Slater because it's really Slater-esque with what he's doing. So, and the NRLW, can't go past the Broncos. I'm with Sid there. I just think Ali Brigginshaw is basically the female Jonathan Thurston and Andrew John. She's an absolute freak. And she's just going to guide that side around, and they're probably going to win that by about 20. So they'll just go to another level. I think they're like what you guys are saying about Penrith, and they're just got another level that they'll go to and put them to the sword. So, boys, any last words? It's the grand final show. Big game coming up. Anyone want to say anything? Any last things? You're over and out. Sweet as. All right, guys. Well, that's the grand final show. Obviously pre-season after this, but we'll come back and do a probably cap of the game next week and go over the top 4 teams of the year. We haven't done it this week. Just want to get through the grand final show, and then in the next probably 2-3 weeks we'll do a bumper State of Origin one as well. But everyone, thanks for tuning in so far. Videos are getting better and better, and feedback's getting better as well. So good luck with both teams in the grand final. Have a barbie on Sunday and call in sick on Monday. Your bosses aren't a boss if they get angry at you. So be an Aussie and get on it. Enjoy the day. But cheers, lads, again for a good one.
See you, mate. Sounds good.
Cheers, boys.